Hello, everyone. It's such a great thing to have someone amazing with us today. So, thank you, Pragati, for joining us to talk about something so important, something so amazing, and some amazing work that you're doing. So, to give you a small update, that we are launching a series called Vartalaap. This is, a sort of an interview series where we would have experts who are related and who've been working on mental health and who've been related to mental health in any way possible, for them to give us, some amazing insights and the most important and vital things. It could be very trivial, but vital things of understanding emotional well-being and mental health in a better way. I'm sure you know that it's a big taboo here and there. So that's the reason why we started this entire initiative, and what more to launch it on a Women's Day. So thank you again for joining us, Pragati. And to all of you, I'll give you a quick snapshot of what our guest is all about. So Pragati Sureka is a licensed clinical psychologist working in the realm of mental health for the last 15 years. 15 years is a long time, folks. And, and the amazing work that she's doing, I think all of us are so privileged to have her with us. Apart from her dual qualifications in clinical and occupational health psychology, she has professional credentials from Harvard Medical School, Boston, the Psychometry Center at the University of Cambridge, UK, and the Beck Institute, Philadelphia. Thank you so much, Pragati. I know you're really busy, but it's so wonderful to have you. So we understand that you have done some amazing work with emotional well-being, and you also have your own venture. So we would want to understand a little bit of what are your education qualifications, and what is the kind of work that you did, and a little about your initiative.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today, Harika. It's indeed a pleasure. And I wish you all the best with your new endeavor, Vartalaap. And a little bit about me. See, I'm someone who has love for learning. So learning for me has never come to an end. A lot of people feel, when you're done with school and your basic undergrad degree, unless and until you're a complete nerd or academic, as we say, studying comes to a halt. But for me, I think learning is more about loving what you do, being passionate, and going on improving yourself and, seeing how can you improve your skill base that you already have. So that's why all these courses that I keep doing, that's essentially with just one goal, how I can talk about the most complex theoretical concepts in a very simple manner, so that the common person who hears me can apply it. And also my own continued professional development goes on and on. Because, when we don't learn, we don't grow. And then we start stagnating. So at least with mental health, I've seen, and there's a real challenge, because we feel, oh, I know everything. And honestly, to stop that from seeping in, that's the reason why I keep going on and on. So currently, I'm actually a PhD scholar and doing my research on emotional well-being, where the study is going to be on undergraduate students from various fields. And how is it that various psychological concepts like mindfulness, stress, anxiety, depression, as well as subjective happiness, what is the correlation? Because I always feel that mental health is like daily brushing. While you need experts like me and everybody else who's, of course, been in the field for a very long time with our basic credentials, the average person in our education system needs to learn how to take care of their mental health. It's not rocket science, but yes, it is a daily endeavor. A bit like daily brushing, a bit like daily bathing. It doesn't matter if you've gone to a spa or if you've used a really nice charcoal toothpaste or, the basic Colgate that we have grown up with. You still have to brush, irrespective of what you have used. So my interest essentially funnels from there. So as I have gone along, I have definitely a master's in clinical psychology, and I do have another degree in occupational health psychology. But what I realized is, when we are doing work so that it can get replicated by others and something which helps others, that's where my interest in PhD arose. So that's been going on now for the last 3 years. And Yes, and I love reading. So I qualified the NET UGC exam last year and in
Wow.
psychology. So I realized that, one very essential requirement is love for your subject and love for what you do. If you have that, the hard work becomes worth it, whether it's in an academic
Correct.
realm or as a continued professional development course.
Correct. Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how you manage that. That is fabulous. I read too, but yeah, not as much as how you're doing. That's amazing. And the way you said it, the way you put it is just so beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely like daily brushing, daily bathing. Because I think a lot of people, when I talk about, say, we have started something on mental health,
Mhm.
people automatically, take it as something like an illness,
Mhm.
something that somebody suffering from, because they have a tag to it, like maybe like a fever or a cold or a cancer. People would say, yeah, oh my god, mental health, then must be depression, must be ADHD, or must be something like that, where where you'd put a tag on it. But people don't understand is mental health is like everything and everywhere. It's as simple as maybe having a death in the family and you're not able to cope up with it,
Mhm.
or maybe a baby, a new baby into the house, how the mother and the parents are overwhelmed, the grandparents are overwhelmed. It's probably as important as that, but also as simple as, you're writing your exam and you're so stressed
Yes.
and you want to understand why you're feeling certain things. um, so it's difficult for people like us who have started something so new, but which is so important
Mhm.
and so vital, but people don't understand the
Very,
importance of it.
very true, Harika. And what I've also seen, the reason why we struggle is because we don't adapt, we don't change. And if you
Correct.
look at it, we are natural beings, like the trees around us. If you see the trees, they shed their leaves in autumn to prepare for the coming season. Then when spring is coming, fresh new leaves come. But if you look at as human beings, with any change, we don't prepare ourselves. And yes,
Right.
like you rightly mentioned, you can never prepare for death, but yes, you can
Correct.
prepare and be willing to grieve in such a way so that you can
Correct.
carry on with life, as well as let the person who is no longer there with you, that requires a bit of skill set training. And the reason why we all struggle is we don't adapt, we don't foresee, like, see, if it's winters, we wear sweaters. If you don't wear a sweater, you are going to catch a chill. Now, there are some people with absolutely good circular system, who don't seem to need even a jacket in the coldest of winter. But that doesn't mean that you don't need a sweater, or you may need a double layered one. So each one of us has to adapt on our constitution and how our metabolism. But when it comes to mental health, we think it's a blanket statement, कि anxiety नहीं होना चाहिए, depression नहीं होना चाहिए, or we should never really, exams, everybody is stressed. That doesn't take away your trouble. See, like,
Correct. Absolutely right.
if you
Absolutely right.
step out in the rain and let's say there's a car passing by and splashes some mud on you, you still have to bathe. It doesn't matter who else got wet or not. So with mental health, I think we need to get that easy. It's okay. I need to just take care of it on a daily basis. Most of the troubles in my life will become manageable. They may not go away, but with regular
Correct.
mental health care, I can actually prevent my mental health issues from becoming a disorder. So if you
Correct.
ask me, the reason why most of us struggle, which I have seen, is because we never give ear to an issue. What is giving ear? Paying
Mm.
attention to it. We were just sharing.
Correct.
There are certain days where we need to really work on ourselves. Family demands attention, work demands attention. Sometimes there are aging family members who demand attention. Plus, you can add on to it. The weather may be not conducive. It may be a bad day.
Correct.
Your health may not have come. So on those days, what are you supposed to do? What you are supposed to do is actually give ear to it, give emotional ability resources to it, as well as pay attention. What would help in such a situation is, can I prioritize out of the 10 things that
Mm.
are taking my attention? First, I need to listen to myself, because everybody is able to manage. Why we struggle is because we try to do all 10 things together. But sometimes it's as basic as, okay, A, B, C, D needs to be done. I can probably ask E. Can you shift the work requirement to 3 days later? Or maybe my house may be a little untidy. How does it matter? So if I give ear to an issue, I'm able to very systematically organize it. So chances of going downhill are a lot less. Ear is also there for this concept that I have delivered called emotional ability resources. You need to literally inculcate it in your daily living. What are those things which uplift you emotionally? Which kind of are things which make you feel I can cope? Because for me, the mind or our mental health is signified by one thing. Can I cope with what's really happening? The day that conviction comes in, we can do it, and it's that mindset, if you see, that makes athletes run hundreds of kilometers. Or, I was seeing this very nice documentary of this very nice gentleman who scaled so many peaks, 28 peaks.
Right.
So, so how did he do it? Because he just decided that he wanted to do it, So if you decide that you can cope, and yes, you have invested adequately in the training, most of the things that we set our mind to gets done.
Right. Absolutely. And also, somewhere I feel that probably with the way your family setting is, or the way your bringing is, it is also equally, that also probably plays a role, to at least what I feel is when I'm talking about emotional wellness or my mental health. So for me, while I do understand I'm facing something, it is equally important that I talk to someone about it, At the end of the day, it is all about sharing. It's all about trying and probably putting some language to the feelings or the emotions that you have, and seek help. That's the starting point. For us to seek help or even understand and talk about our feelings, I think it comes from our family setting. At least I believe in that. Maybe at some point of time in your childhood, maybe your mother, father, they should be encouraging you to talk about it,
True,
or somebody whom
adding to that, Harika, usually what happens now, especially in our cultural context, parents feel that I need to advise my child on how to live their life. Now, if you see us, when we were growing up, India and the world has changed completely. When we were growing up, there used to be a landline. Now everybody has the world on their fingertips, And in the next 5 years, or if not sooner, they say we won't even have physical screens or laptops. We would just be, typing and, something which is seen in movies. So the reason why children don't share with parents, and why parents also are not able to communicate with children, is because parents feel I know best, and children feel they don't want any more gyan. So what works is therapy sometimes gives you that safe space to vent, where you're just talking about what's there.
Absolutely.
So, at home, why stress is so much more is, one is because when parents talk, that love of learning that I was talking about, it's all got related to what pay packet will you get after your course? Will you get into XYZ university? How much will you earn? How much can we brag about you? I mean, I'm not taking away from anyone, but it's literally like a class 7 or a class 8 child has to think about the dollars or nowadays even rupees is not enough, with our constant devaluation. And that's too much for a young child to take in. When we were kids, I remember it was just about if you went to a metropolitan city from wherever you were, or if you're in a good college, that was like, wow, someone who was ultra nerdy or ultra privileged, they went. But now the average Joe has dreams in their eyes, and parents behave as though, you are the next Mark Zuckerberg, and every child can't take in that kind of pressure.
I know.
The 95% is not good enough, where nothing is good enough.
God.
I have children coming for counseling who say, I only got 95%. So,
My goodness,
Yes.
हमारे time पे 95% is like, यार तुम तो मतलब Einstein बन गए.
Exactly. So that's the reason why children are also struggling, and so are parents, because we have unrealistic expectations. Love of learning or just simple laughter has gone out of the lives of people.
Absolutely. So also, I wanted to understand what was the inspiration behind your initiative that you've started here. It's so beautiful. I've gone through the website, and the kind of things that you cover, the kind of therapy that you give, is just so nice. I mean, I wanted to understand what was your inspiration behind it.
So for me, the inspiration was always my children and my husband. I got married very early, and I couldn't
Oh,
leave my children and go anywhere. I didn't have enough support. My parents
mm,
or my in-laws didn't live in the same city. So that's where I had
mm,
started studying and volunteering. So while they were studying, it was just easier to study than to do anything. And I would work limited hours. But the good thing about
mm,
it, 10 years, 15 years later, is I have very practical approach to my learning, because in this adult learning program I started seeing what is missing. So as I started seeing children in therapy, like when I would go to the ESI hospital, or even to the more privileged clinics, or people who would come to my institute, I would see that what was really happening is, while everyone was scared about mental health, there were no resources which were available. No one spoke about preventive
mm.
mental health care. It's not that it's an
Right.
alien concept for us. Like, in India,
Yeah.
especially, we have a very rich psycho-spiritual tradition. But it's like, haldi. Haldi got patented by others, but none of us realize the value. It's a bit like that with psycho-spiritual development. So I realized that we need more books. We need more talks about how can you first take care of your mental health, so that it stops being that elephant in the room. You're like, oh my God, how do I deal with my mental health? Otherwise, like, mental health, something I brush daily. Okay, you get bad breath, I'll brush and it'll go away. So we need that kind of comfort with mental health. So that is what my inspiration was, especially seeing little things where I struggle with. I remember a time when my older one was in middle school. And I remember asking
Oh,
my supervisors that I've done everything to the T, because I was reading psychology textbooks, I was seeing people, I was interning, I was working. I was like, I've done everything to the T. How can my child misbehave? How can he not want to do it? And that is what my inspiration was. They would laugh. Ki human beings now, we have our own uh, God's gift. That is, the freedom to choose our attitude and be who we want to be. And sometimes it's
absolutely right.
parents, you don't know what is best for your child. So what do you do then?
Absolutely.
You only listen to the
Mm,
child. When I started listening to my child, when I started giving him personal responsibility, look, okay, let's just see how you want to manage your studies. Let's see how you are managing your sports. What is your purpose of studies? I remember he turned around and told me, Mom, I want to get 70%, because if I get above 80, I'll be branded as a nerd. I was like, okay.
oh
So,
my God. Okay.
so I said, so what would you like me to do? We never ask our children this one question: what would you like me to do? And if you see human
Mm,
development, if you read literature, they say by the time a child is 7, his entire adult personality is formed. So if you actually start giving a
mm,
child personal responsibility, if you start talking to a child, that is more effective than anything else in the book, than any therapy, than anything else. I, of course, asked therapists, I asked my supervisors, they said, Pragati, just let him do what he wants to. And I was like, okay, I'll probably have one happy child, and me as a mother, what am I
that's true.
looking at? But I realized that that really worked. After a couple of years,
Mm,
I saw his grades had gone up, his sports was much better. He in fact got a
lovely.
scholarship of 3 lakhs from his school. He was the best student that year,
Lovely.
and he swam for the
Lovely.
state. So I realized that, when you talk of inspiration, that my children were very inspiring. My daughter had a match to play, and I was like, why aren't you playing to win? She said, Mom, I'm playing for the love of the game. How does it matter if I win or my opponent wins? I was like, gone, Pragati. This is not going to work for apps. But I said, at least
Oh
this
my.
child has a funda in life, right? So somewhere maybe my
Right.
reading, my writing percolated to my children, even though honestly, as a mother, I felt maybe, why not more target based? So what really inspired me is seeing, children, my own as well as those around. If we just let them make choices now, they are better
Right.
equipped to handle their life than we ever can do. And with emotional ability resources, my endeavor is that each one identifies what uplifts them. What is it that gets them
Correct.
feel that they can cope up. So with that personal responsibility, things like journaling, write every day. This felt good. This did not feel good. What can I change? So like we have lists. If you have that list, you will manage your mind like nothing else. You don't need me. You don't need anyone else. You only need 10 minutes with yourself. So I really want to propagate that concept, and that is my inspiration.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah. So I think, what you said is so beautifully right, that, we think that we would actually direct our children that, this is like a framework, step one, step two, and this is how you grow up and all that. But I think, no, they grow up on themselves. They observe a lot. And I think what you said is so right, giving them the choice to whatever, choose, be happy, do whatever they want. Because I think by being parents, thrusting upon what we probably like, what we probably expect them to do, is disrupting their mental health. I think what you said is absolutely right. That's beautiful way.
See, today, if you put it on yourself, you have a thing. Today, if you have a parent who always says, Harika, do this, I don't think you're doing this properly. It strips confidence. But today, if your parent just looked at you, wow, what a great job you are doing, I trust you can manage your life, you will see you perform much better that day. And this is something, I think my constant inspiration is just that, no one needs to be told how to live their life. But yes, if I want to inspire my children, I better do what I'm expecting them to do. So if I want them to be punctual, I better be punctual. If I don't want them to waste time, let me utilize my day productively. So you can convince anyone in the world, but your children are the best psychologists. You may
be
passing fake smiles, but your child knows that mama doesn't like this person. So if he's pretending, even I can pretend. So the thing is, you have to live your talk. That's the only way to inspire children. And if they see you enjoying your regular day, what does a regular child see? Like as women, specifically since we are talking about Women's Day, the ones who are working find it difficult to juggle numerous responsibilities that they have at home, growing kids, and that. While all that is commendable, I often see, children get that sense that I'm just a responsibility to my mother, or my mother just wants to brag. I mean, I'm sorry, women, if it's sounding harsh. Most of it is my own tried and tested learning, and something which I have also gone through. So I'm not really trying to make you feel as though, you are wrong. I'm just sharing what countless women have shared with me over the years, So when we look at anything as a chore, including child rearing, children automatically stop listening to you, because no one wants to feel like a chore, right?
Wow. That's amazing. So you've been handling, a lot of, issues like anger management, anxiety, depression, and all the other things. So what are the kind of people that come to see you, Pragati? I mean, how are the demographics like? Are there lots of women who come? Are there lots of children? What is the usual age group where you see these kind of, I don't want to call that as issues really, but what is usually the entire curve that you've seen?
So I usually see two distinct varieties of people. One is a group of people who are functioning normally overall, but who want to better themselves. For them, I do trainings, or we have the 1-year diploma program where it's more of a self-growth and development program where they feel they can contribute to society, they're good listeners, or they want to have a vocation where they want to, work, or they want to develop themselves. So, or pick up basic skills, like where they want to listen better, where they want to do better at the work which they do, or become better individuals who want to cope up. So a lot of my trainings, whether with corporates or individually, is focused there. Another group which I really, really see is, these days I see a lot of people with relationship issues, where they feel that it's a bit of a struggle. But by and large, if I had to club everyone together, I think anyone who wants to work at himself or herself are the kind of people who actually transform. People who come to just blame the other, they come for a session or two. And I also understand that I have my limitations, as has any other person. Because if you want to work at yourself, I can help you skillfully to manage yourself so that the problems don't feel so big. But if you want to just blame the others or your situations, I sympathize, but thank you very much. I don't have time or the skill set to help you.
Wow, that's nice. So, do you see that I can understand that they come with a lot of relationship issues and all that. So, how are the is there a shift in thinking for say example, how has it been? How's it been? Now, I'm sure you've been doing this for a while now.
The real shift what has come in is people are ready to seek help. Sometimes I have 18, 19-year-olds calling me who say that I'm not feeling good about myself. Could I be having a panic attack? I Googled on my symptoms and they said that I have a panic attack. I still remember this girl who called me. She said, ma'am, I think I'm having a panic attack and I need to see you. I said, what are the symptoms? She said, yeah. I said, see, if you were really having a panic attack now, you would be in the emergency room.
You would.
Yes, you are feeling panicky. But so let's just see how can we manage it, So basically now people are willing to pick up the phone and seek help, irrespective of age, and especially with the internet and, online through the website, people can book anytime. And now people are even willing to pay for therapy. Unfortunately, in our country, therapy is still not covered by insurance.
No. Yeah.
The new union budget, of course, talks about a lot of rollout.
Talks about
health, but we don't know how much it will come. So I get people across a broad spectrum, because now people are coming in. I usually do not deal with children under 16 or 17. Then someone else from my team who's qualified with child psychology does. However, I've written a book for children, which actually is more for because I realized that parents need to start having conversations about mental health with children.
Absolutely.
And the real reason why I don't see younger children is because any problem with the child under 16 usually talks about some issue at home which is there, or some trouble that the child is seeing. And a lot of times parents aren't that receptive to it. And for me, if they aren't receptive to it, I would prefer someone who's, thinking on those lines and specifically looking at that. So that is one genre that I don't go to. I usually like to talk to adults, and also sometimes with children or in schools when I do workshops. Sometimes it's just to bring that awareness to children. You may be 10, you are 12, but like you can do A for apple. You can even, start daily brushing your mind.
So, so Pragati, if you can just give me a small, understanding of, say, when a particular person, I know it is an ocean. If you ask me for signs or symptoms of if there is a disturbance in your mind, or if there is something that is bothering you, so. Are there something that, as a common person, for me to have, a check box sort of, where I have a certain list of signs and symptoms of if in case something that is disturbing me, do I have any issues with my emotions or my mental well-being or my thinking per se? So, do you have a specific checklist per se?
Absolutely. So the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, which is basically a clinically approved journal to identify symptoms. So anyone, for more than 2 weeks, if the symptom you notice in someone, one is a drastic change in their personality. If they're getting angry, irritable, or crying unnecessarily, or people who love to go out completely have stopped going out or not bathing at all, or where you see that for more than 14 days the symptoms are just not disappearing, they seem to be escalating, then that is the time one needs to start becoming aware. Perhaps it's time for a person to intervene. Next, where it's seen is in their relationships. If for more than 2 weeks, again, if a person is really struggling, in a relationship or with people around them where they are just not being able to function for whatever reason. Third indicator is if their work is suffering. They're completely distracted, they're completely not able to put out work, or they are just going on late on deadlines. So if at least two of these areas are impacted, it's time to seek help. I know, especially in COVID, if you see why we all struggled, for most people, all three got impacted. And, this concept of daily preventive mental health care was not being spoken about. So people didn't know what to do when all three went for a toss,
Correct.
So I was speaking to a lecturer of mine. She's a lady in her 70s. I picked up the phone and I called her that, ma'am, how are you? Because that age group was so vulnerable. She told me, Pragati, I'm always fine. I said, ma'am, you live by yourself. She said, Pragati, I take care of my mental health. I'm always fine. Don't worry about me. So, so someone who invested in daily mental health care could cope up with the traumas, with the difficulties, in spite of being completely vulnerable, completely all alone, and having the entire system stop functioning. Like one of the days I remember, I had gone to meet her for some work, for my thesis work. And she said, Pragati, today my computer went haywire. So I'm trying to read, dissertation papers on my phone. I've never done it before.
Oh my God.
So these are the kind of people who probably have looked after their mental health through the ups and downs in life. So what we need to do is really bring in this culture. So coming back to the point, out of the three things, if two are severely impacted, I would recommend at least going to somebody who has adequate number of years in training. Nowadays, we have a lot of pseudo therapists also.
Oh yes, absolutely. So, I mean, when we started this, initiative, and when we were trying to talk to people, not people, really close circles, trying to just tell them that, we have started something like this, and would you like to come and talk to us? If you're suffering something, maybe I just sent a message in all the groups. So a lot of them started asking me like, oh, are you doing something on that side? Are you a certified psychologist or a certified counselor? So that's when I realized, all right, I think, irrespective, I'm not a doctor really. So I would definitely not ask somebody to tell me what the symptoms are for a fever or something like that. But this really requires for us to take a very careful step, number one. Number two, for us to understand that people will not confide in you or will not come and talk to you unless they have the trust in you. Number one, they feel that you know a little more than what probably they do, or they feel that maybe you're an expert in that field.
I think what the real difference is, Harika. One is, with good therapists, since I've seen, the best thing about training is it brings to you a huge spectrum of mental health. Mental health is always on a continuum. I think the best part of my training is I learned these two basic facts. One is that listen with unconditional positive regard. A person only transforms when you listen. Second was, don't advise. Encourage them to take personal responsibilities. So, once any individual gets these factors, when we talk of a safe space to vent, why unfortunately friends, family don't feel safe anymore is, let's say you and I are talking. The friend will immediately tell you, oh, Harika, this happened to you. This happened to me also. This happened to that friend. And, because we are not trained to listen. We are taught that helping means giving advice. But actually for us to really feel free, or for that catharsis to happen where the head feels lighter, we need someone to just listen.
Correct. Yeah. So I think I can go on and on with the way we talk and we share. Or probably I'm a little more on the side of learning and understanding mental health better. So I think I'll probably ask you the last question. So if you can give us, 5 or 6 tips, or 3 or 4, whatever, some tips for somebody as as just a normal person who's just trying to make themselves a little better in understanding their own self much better. So do you have some tips for people to have a healthy mind, which thereby converts into a better emotional journey?
For me, for a healthy mind, you need a lifestyle of preventive mental health care. So like if you do things on a daily basis, it's going to work, but you can't leave it. Now, work does not mean 3 hours or 4 hours, but half an hour if you feel that you are important enough, where you just listen to your mind. So how do you listen? One tried and tested way is journaling, where you sit down, and tell your mind, this is my worry window, 6 to 6:30 in the evening, or 10 to 10:30 at night, or 6 to 6:30 in the morning, where or whatever thoughts plague me, I'm going to sit with myself and jot it down. Like I do my to-do list, this needs to be done. As we keep ticking off, we feel good. So I literally sit and listen to myself. No judgment, no gyan, nothing. I'm just going to listen, whether it's flattering, whether it's non-flattering, just listening to yourself. So when we start giving ear to our own mind, what happens is this jumble in the head, that stops feeling as though it's a mess that you can't cope. When you write it down, you look at it, you feel, okay, now I can structure it the way I want. It's not an empty thought. It's not like a free radical in my mind which is roaming around. Because what happens then? Our brain becomes absolutely fogged up. It's like an overstuffed handbag. You keep stuffing, you keep stuffing. It doesn't matter what you are stuffing, whether good or bad. It still needs to come out for it to function normally. So I recommend daily journaling. Second, set a window called a worry window. Half an hour. Like, if you're worried about work, about a relationship, anything, set a time that's convenient for you, where you feel, okay, whatever problems I have, that half an hour is like a date with myself, where I'm just going to sit and listen to myself, just talk about whatever is happening. Observe your thoughts, don't judge them. Third, what I recommend is, laugh every day. Laughter is really something which gets your neurotransmitters, those endorphins, those oxytocin, the feel-good hormones, they just rush through your blood. So whether it's with your children, and especially if you live with family, try and laugh about something every day. That's one thing which I've seen that works in relationships. So these three things really, really work. Apart from that, meditation, adequate sleep. Sleep is something where most people are not sleeping enough these days. So, you will see sometimes children are sleeping 10 hours also, and I tell parents, let them sleep, on weekends if they want to, because it's better that they sleep erratic hours than they don't sleep at all. And if you are not erratic with your lifestyle, slowly, they'll come back to it. Let the brain rest. And even nutrition. So like even something which I recommend is 2 bananas a day. You may wonder, because banana has tryptophan and B12, so which is really very soothing to your mind. It's very filling. So these are emotional ability resources which I feel are very doable for everyone. And out of the 6, 7 I've listed, even if 2, 3 you do on a regular basis, one reaps the benefits of it.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Pragati. I think my entire thinking of understanding mental health and emotional well-being seems to shift a little bit, thanks to you. And I think we will keep sorting your expertise, and we will keep having these amazing conversations again and again. Thank you so much for your time, and hope our audience will also love listening to you more and more.
Thank you, Harika, for having me here. And in fact, I encourage our viewers, like if you don't have much time, if you have just 5 minutes, you can get these kind of simple tips on YouTube also. My channel is there. You can put up the link, Harika, with your podcast. And
absolutely, we will do that.
It's just like that reminder, that alarm. Okay, I need to take care of my emotional ability resources. Okay, like I shower every day, I brush, I can take out 10 minutes at least for myself on a daily basis. So thank you so much. And I wish everybody all the best. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.